Good morning, Pokemon fans. We are back on Critical Hit GG, streaming the Collinsville VGC Top Cut. We had an amazing day yesterday with a lot of incredible Pokemon action, and we're excited to tell you that we got 7 out of the 8 members of Top Cut on stream yesterday. But you know who you got to see yesterday too? You got to see us, and we're back again. It's Rosemary and Jake that are going to be bringing you the commentary for the first round of Top Cut today.
Yeah, we're really excited to be back. Every match we saw yesterday was so great. Like Rosemary said, we saw 7 of the top 8 on stream yesterday, so we're going to get to see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of familiar teams. And then, of course, the Lone Ranger who didn't make it on stream yesterday will be able to, have his time today as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, didn't get a chance to see Alan Martinez, but we will see him today at some point in the day. I think he's a fifth seed, so we'll see him third in the morning. But wherever you are, it's a great day to play Pokemon and to watch Pokemon, and I can't wait to get started.
Me neither. We're going to have some great matches for you. First up, we're going to have Alex Arand versus Ryan Loseto. We saw both of them later in the day. I believe Alex was on the last round. The very last match, we saw him beat Nate Innocenti to make cut. And Ryan Loseto we saw in round 5. We've seen these players before. We know they have what it takes to get here. And it'll be really fun to see them, work their magic in top 8 as well.
Yeah, we have some. Well, let's take a look at that bracket, actually, because we've got all 8 players seated for you, so you can see who's going to be battling who. And, I can't tell you which one I'm more excited for.
Oh, they're all going to be great. Like we said, Ryan and Alex are going first. But then we have some really great matches for you later on in the day. We have Alex Underhill and William Marks, who will be going on second. We saw both of them yesterday as well. Alex won this regional a couple years ago. William, I believe this is his second regional cut overall. And so, it's going to be a little bit of, the old guard versus the new in that match. But it's kind of the same way for Nick versus Alan, too. I believe this is Alan's first regional cut. Whereas Nick is coming off a win in his last regional, and he's won a couple of regionals before that as well. And so that's going to be a really fun match to see how Nick tries to handle this new blood. And then finally, fourth up, we'll have Whitney versus Jake. Whitney, the 7-0 player yesterday, so he has yet to drop a set this tournament, playing against Jake Major, who snuck into his first regional cut with that 5-2 record as well.
I mean, we saw Whitney round 1 of the tournament yesterday for Swiss rounds, and from there just completely dominated the competition.
Yeah, we saw Whitney 2-0 Drew Nowak, who, is a very strong competitor, has won a few regionals himself. And clearly he took that momentum and just ran with it because he had a fantastic day yesterday.
Oh, yeah. And so that's going to be an exciting matchup to see. But we've just been saying this a lot. It's exciting for every single one that we're going to see today. I know the players are anxious. They are excited. They are just ready to go.
Right. I'm ready for it too.
The jitters.
We keep saying these are going to be great matches because they are. There's no way around that. We're at the top level of a regional here. There were some really good players at this regional. A lot of them are in cut now. All 8 of these players obviously earned their way into cut, and so it's going to be really cool to see how these players have adjusted their strategies from yesterday. Just because we've seen how they play on stream already, most of them at least, and so it'll be fun to see if they adjust what Pokemon they bring based on different matchups, or if they just bring the same Pokemon and adjust how they play different matchups with those Pokemon. And so there's a lot they can, there's a lot of flexibility to be had.
I think a lot of players are also very prepared. So we have a couple of teams that we'll talk about a little bit later, but the team compositions haven't changed very much from when we've seen them before at Dallas or at Oceania. And so we have trainers here that are very familiar with the Pokemon compositions that they brought. And I don't know if they really need any more than just the muscle memory from playing that strategy.
Yeah, no, the team we saw from Nick Navarre yesterday was just one Pokemon different from the team he won Dallas with. And so, exactly like you said, there's a lot of muscle memory. He's played a lot of games with this team, obviously had success with it, and so, didn't feel the need to switch it up for this tournament, and it's been working.
Okay, so something that every single player has done so far is they have made top 8.
Yes.
But let's talk about the stuff they won.
Right.
Because that is, you don't just play Pokemon to have fun. You play Pokemon because you get to win some fabulous prizes.
Absolutely.
So we got championship points on the line. We've got money on the line. And everybody that made it to top 8 is going home with a sizable chunk of change.
Yeah, so everyone that loses in top 8, the 5th through 8th place finishers will receive 100 championship points and $250, which
That's a lot.
yeah, not bad at all. I would love to walk away from this tournament with $250 myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you win your top 8 match and then lose in top 4, you'll be walking away with 130 championship points and $500. The finalist will receive $1,000 and 160 points, and the champion will walk away with $2,000 and 200 championship points. That's half a World's Invite in one tournament.
I know. And
Yeah.
the World's Invite, I mean, if you can do the math, because I had to do it real quickly in my head, you need 400 championship points in
Yes.
order to get a World's Invite. So whoever wins today is so well on their way to be able to get there.
Well, on their way, I'm sure a lot of these players, a win here would finish the deal for them too. We're over halfway through this season. A lot of these players already have a big chunk of CP. Obviously, Nick Navarre being, on the snowball already. He's won a regional. He got the trip to Australia. I believe he already has a World's Invite, if not 2 at this point, based on how much CP he has.
I mean, yeah, if you love the game, you keep playing, right?
Right.
So why
Yep.
stop at 400 when you can just go all the way? Because you're not just competing for an invite, you're also competing to see whether or not you can go to day 2. So
Right.
bypass complete day 1
Yeah.
and just go into the finals.
You also are competing for that stipend to the North American International Championships.
Yes.
And so, the championship points we just mentioned counting towards Worlds, also very important for that stipend. The stipend period begins this weekend and runs through the middle of April at the Berlin International Championships. And so, that's going to be very important for these players to, get a good start here. They already have 100 at least, and hopefully they can build on that.
Yeah, that's going to be just a great start to all of these players' dreams of making it to the NA Internats. But the other thing, too, is that everybody in top 32 walked away with some championship points as well.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a little bit less, but we do have championship points awarded for 9th to 16th,
Yes.
and then 17 to 32.
Yeah, top 16 got 80 points and top 32 got 60, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And so, everyone that, plays pretty well here, they have that good start. They're ahead of everyone else that, didn't play this weekend. And so, a good start for anyone, but especially these top 8 players that have the chance to win more.
Absolutely, and we're ready. We're ready,
go.
and we're excited, and we are going to get into the first match. So let's talk about it. We've got Ryan Loseto versus Alex Arand. We mentioned that we saw Ryan in round 5 versus Alex Williams, and we saw Alex versus Nate, and the very last match of the day for our second round 7.
Yeah, this is interesting because we saw Ryan play against that Solgaleo Zygarde composition in round 5 against Alex Williams. And then we saw Alex play with that Solgaleo Zygarde composition in round 7 and fare a little bit better than Alex Williams did against Ryan. And so it'll be cool to see if Ryan uses that same strategy he used in round 5 against a similar team. But it'll be even more fun to see if Alex can, hold up to Ryan's defense.
Yeah, and Ryan's running a very interesting team composition as well, and I think you can see that on the screen right now. But let's talk about Ryan's accomplishments. So we mentioned that this is Ryan's first top cut.
Yes.
And the last time we've seen him take such a powerful stance was in 2017 at the Toronto Regional. He got top 32.
Yeah, Ryan is Canadian himself, and so it's a little bit harder for Canadians to get to regionals, just because the only one in their home country is that Toronto Regional now. And so, we're not sure if he just hasn't had much of a chance to shine, but, he did have that homestand top 32 in 2017, but now he's broken through that ceiling and made it into top cut here in Collinsville this year.
And, the money that he's going to be taking home today, that might help him get to some other places in the United States to earn more championship points to get to the North American Internationals and further.
Very true. Yep. So there is his team. He's going to be running that team of Xerneas, Yveltal, Amoonguss, Incineroar, Raichu, and Kartana.
Raichu,
Raichu.
Yveltal. What? That's going to be amazing to see. I know you guys saw it a little bit yesterday, but I can't wait to see it again.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure we're going to see the Raichu because Raichu really shines against those electric types.
Yeah.
And as you can see on your screen now, Alex is not packing one.
No, he's not. So we're not going to see the Raichu probably.
Right.
But we can see that Alex is pretty decorated.
Yes.
He's top cut multiple times. He's had a World Championship invite, and this is just one of the first couple of years that he's doing Masters and coming out with a bang.
Right. This is his home regional, like we said yesterday. He's from the Chicago area, so quick drive up I-70. But He is rocking that team of Zygarde, Solgaleo, Venusaur, Incineroar, Tapu Fini, and Toxicroak.
Some other just really interesting Pokemon that you don't expect to see.
Yep.
And I think that we saw this a little bit yesterday, but there are some really interesting move sets on some of these Pokemon. I think the Zygarde is a little bit special, and
Right.
I know that the Yveltal on Ryan's team is also a little special.
Yeah, so it's really cool to see how these players have built their teams not only with the 6 Pokemon they choose, but the items they choose, the moves they choose, how they choose to train them, the abilities they choose. We saw the 2 different Zygarde abilities on stream yesterday, and so it's just really fun to watch these top level players as they team build and as they execute their game plans.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned team building, because I think a common talking point for a lot of the players is that it's more about the mental game in Moon Series versus team building. So it is very cool to see these players getting creative.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of the Moon Series is building your team and knowing your matchups, but you have to execute those matchups. And so you can know as much as you want, but if you can't pick the right moves, then it's not going to be enough.
No, it isn't. But we're going to see that these players are ready.
Yep.
And we're going to go right into team preview. We can... Yeah, if they didn't know what they were running before, they know now. But I'm sure
I
all these...
they knew their teams before.
I mean, I'm sure these players have all done their research, though.
Right.
We did get very lucky yesterday by being able to stream 7 of the 8 top cut players that we're seeing today. So, they have that VOD to kind of look back on and prepare for what kind of matchup that they're going to see. So,
Right. Just to run through them again, Alex is using that team of Zygarde, Solgaleo, Tapu Fini, Incineroar, Toxicroak, and Venusaur, whereas Ryan is using the Xerneas, Incineroar, Kartana, Raichu, Yveltal, and Amoonguss. Now, one thing I noticed yesterday about these Zygarde Solgaleo comps that I just think is really cool, so I'm going to talk about it again, is that they have that core of 4 Pokemon, the Zygarde, Solgaleo, Tapu Fini, and Incineroar, and those 4 Pokemon have some really strong matchups across the board. But, they can be a little bit weak to some things, which Alex has chosen to patch those matchups with the Toxicroak and the Venusaur. So that team of, the core 4 can struggle a little bit with Kyogre, and Toxicroak is a fantastic check to Kyogre, and so it makes, that matchup a little bit better. And then if you're not feeling too great against Groudon, you can bring that Venusaur to take advantage of their sun as well.
all right, well, we're going to get started here. Seeing the leads for both of these players now. Alex is going to go ahead and start out. Oh, I remember Starbucks Mom from yesterday, so we'll get to that in a second. But Alex is going to be starting out with the Yveltal and the Raichu. So we are seeing Raichu.
Yeah, I clearly was wrong. Ryan, knowing that this Raichu may be a little more important than we might have earlier let on. This is a pretty strong place for it to start, just because it is facing down that Tapu Fini, and Raichu's powerful electric type attacks might be able to deal a lot of damage to it.
If you were watching the matchup yesterday, though, at the very end of the day, Alex's Tapu Fini never died.
Never.
No, it just kept heal pulsing. It kept surviving.
It ate its berry a couple times.
Yeah.
It's a very, very bulky Pokemon.
Yeah, but we're not going to see that actually stick to the field for too much longer. We're actually going to see that Tapu Fini switch out after getting that terrain on board, and we're going to see that Zygarde. So the Zygarde immediately being able to utilize their Misty terrain, the Misty Seed, and they're going to go ahead and get that stat boost.
So actually going to be a double switch for Alex. He decided that didn't really like either of his Pokemon's positions on the field. He wants to reposition a little bit, and I like this switch a lot, because if there was something like a foul play coming off into the Solgaleo, it would have been hitting this Incineroar instead, like we are seeing. So this Incineroar going to take very little damage. Well, actually a little bit more than I would have expected. That's a decent chunk for a resisted attack. But more importantly, the Volt Switch from the Raichu is blocked by that Zygarde's ground type thing.
So if you are Alex, do you like the position that you put your new Pokemon in?
I think you do. Raichu likely doesn't really have a way to damage Zygarde meaningfully. The Zygarde, foul play might do a little bit of damage. If you start coiling, you don't really mind foul play, because you are boosting your attack, which boosts foul play, but you're also boosting your defense. And so you're going to be able to take that hit about the same as you would before. You can't get knocked out. Well, you can get knocked off, but it won't be doing much damage, because you did have that Mystic Seed activate. And so it's not a bad position at all for Alex.
And it looks like Ryan doesn't even want to deal with the potential of Yveltal not doing that damage. So gonna go ahead and swap it out. Oh, we're seeing a double swap from those restricteds now. So Tapu Fini coming back out and a Xerneas to match it on Ryan's side. Of course, if you got that U-turn, you're gonna use it. And that's exactly what Alex's Incineroar is going to do. And we're gonna see yet another switch. This rotating door of Pokemon has already begun for today.
Right. We do see the Solgaleo come back in, wanting to take advantage of that Xerneas that just popped onto the field. Interesting that Alex chose to immediately switch out his Zygarde. You know, he does lose that Misty Seed boost.
Yeah.
So now won't be able to take attacks on this Xerneas quite as well as it might have wanted to. But the Volt Switch, or sorry, the Encore from the Raichu, hoping to catch that Fake Out from the Incineroar into the Yveltal. But, you know, Alex following the rule that if you have active Fake Out, you never click it in the U-turn instead.
You're absolutely right about that one, because then you can't get affected by Encore.
Right. Yeah, it was a good Encore on Ryan's end. He was trying to catch the Fake Out. Yveltal was a more likely partner, and so yeah, it was kind of an aggressive play that it didn't work out this turn, but not really a big deal. He can easily just Volt Switch and reposition himself right now.
Well, this is the third turn in a row that we're going to see a Pokemon swap out here, and so it's going to be Kartana now coming in for the Xerneas, and that is a super effective attack on the Tapu Fini. Raichu now utilizing what it was hoping to catch with that Incineroar.
Yeah, so you know, successfully Volt Switches this time. No Zygarde to block it. We're going to see what he wants to bring in, but this, you know, Solgaleo going to end this turn at full health. The Tapu Fini yet to move as well, so we could be seeing something like a Swagger. Possibly a Light Screen to catch that Xerneas as well. Oh, Nature's Madness instead.
Wow, I mean, that's a surprise. I feel like you do see the Alolan Guardians actually running the Nature's Madness, but you don't really see them trained to be an offensive Pokemon.
Right.
So I like that we're seeing a little bit of damage here coming out from Alex, potentially calculating that you just got to get some damage on the board.
Nature's Madness is such a good attack. You know, it turns Tapu Fini from this, you know, very bulky but very passive Pokemon into, you know, a really big threat. You know, the Yveltal came in on a Tapu Fini, and usually, considering it's carrying that Assault Vest item, it wouldn't take much damage from any of its attacks. But that Nature's Madness always doing 50% of the remaining health, so it knocks Zygarde down to 50%. And that Trick Room really put Alex in a great position, because I believe Ryan brought his fast mode, and so you know the slowest Pokemon on his team is going to be this Yveltal, but it's still going to be a little bit faster than that Solgaleo, so Solgaleo is going to have a pretty free reign.
Yeah, and Ryan doesn't even want to deal with that.
No.
I'm sure he is aware of this kind of speed involved, but Solgaleo's not even going for attack. It's gonna just go for a protect potential.
Good play.
Oh, that
Very
was
good play.
excellent.
Yeah, that's very smart on Ryan's end. Unfortunately, just barely popping that berry. It was exactly the HP he needed to eat that Iapapa berry, but you know, still a very good play. He gets a big Sacred Sword off under the switch. That was not necessarily a telegraph switch, but it was a very likely option. The Tapu Fini didn't really want to stay on the field against the Kartana, and so unfortunate that the berry did pop, because now the Incineroar is actually a little bit higher health than it was before, but it no longer has that berry option. Alex making a good play, switching that Incineroar in. Now he has the Fake Out initiative, and he can, block the Fake Out from the Raichu with his own Fake Out if he wants to, or just prevent this Kartana from attacking this turn as well.
Yeah, talk to me about, just clarify for me, if Raichu were to go for an Encore, who moves first?
Well, Encore isn't a priority move, and so since Trick Room is up, Raichu's going to be moving last this turn. So if Incineroar was to Fake Out this Kartana, and Raichu was able to Encore the Incineroar, it would be locked into it. But Raichu would have to not get faked out itself and not get knocked out by something like a Sunsteel Strike. But it looks like Raichu calling the Incineroar's lack of Fake Out and faking it out instead.
Wow, and that's going to mean that Instin's not going to be able to do anything here, but Solgaleo is ready to pounce that Sunsteel Strike, prepped and ready, going to find its mark on the Raichu. And just barely hangs in there. That's
not necessarily a bad thing. If you are Alex, you don't really mind that missing the KO, because any single attack will be able to knock Raichu out from this range. And you don't give Ryan a free switch into something else. And so, if you want to click U-turn with your Incineroar into that Raichu slot, you either get to knock out the Raichu, or you can reposition your Incineroar into something that Ryan switches in for Raichu. And now we have, Solgaleo facing down a Xerneas with zero pressure from anything else, and so this is a pretty good spot for Alex because likely he's going to be able to fire off a Sunsteel Strike here.
I like that you're mentioning about whether or not you leave a low health Pokemon on the field, especially because you do have that Trick Room up.
Mm-hmm.
You know that your Solgaleo is going to move first. You know that your Incineroar is going to move before Ryan's Pokemon are able to respond. So now you really only have to deal with one throughout in the field instead of two. And the Tapu Fini coming back out to reset that terrain is going to be yet another thing in Alex's favor.
Yeah, we do see a big Sunsteel Strike here. There's only one possible target. We did see a Xerneas survive Sunsteel Strike a couple times on stream in various matches yesterday, and so a chance this might survive, and it looks like it does with just a little bit of health left, and it will be able to get off a Geomancy.
Ooh, so in this situation, do you leave your Xerneas vulnerable and on the field knowing that it is within knockout range, or do you switch it out to just try to preserve it, even though you've already gotten a Geomancy off?
At this point, switching out Xerneas would be not a great idea, just because you do lose that Geomancy. You really can't Geomancy again unless you make a play like we saw yesterday on stream with the Xerneas Geomancing a second time against a Ho-Oh. But actually, that was Ryan, so we know he's prone to double Geomancies, but not really the best idea, just considering that it's so much harder to Geomancy a second time, especially when you're at this low health. And this is not really a great spot for Ryan at all, because we have seen that this Solgaleo is carrying the Solganium Z, and we'll have that Searing Sunray Smash, which will be able to KO the Xerneas, if it decides to protect this turn. And so it's going to be really tough for Ryan to come back from this, because if he wants this Xerneas to survive this turn, he has to switch it out. But that means that he loses
all of that
yeah, exactly. And Kartana, it is, we do see the switch. So this is Kartana coming in. If it does take a Sunsteel Strike, it'll take that very well. But if it is a Z move, it might not be really.
It might not live through that.
It'll definitely survive. It does resist. It has some decent defense, so it will survive this attack. But it doesn't really want to be taking this much damage on a switch. It'll be kind of interesting to see what this type of Fini goes for, because the Yveltal on Ryan's end of the field clearly is not targeted this turn by the Solgaleo, and so the type of Fini, we've seen Nature's Madness. Even if it does carry Moonblast, it's very likely that the Yveltal will be able to survive it, because it is a very bulky Pokemon. Typically carries that Assault Vest, and so the Yveltal might be able to get off a pretty big foul play against this Solgaleo.
Oh, that is going to be a lot of damage, but you're right. It doesn't do enough in order to kind of clean it up there. But yeah, another Nature's Madness now onto the Yveltal is going to bring it down to a quarter of its health now. Those things don't stack, unfortunately. So it's not just going to be half. It's half of the remaining of whatever is left on that Pokemon. And ooh, Solgaleo taking a nice chunk as well.
Yeah, so that's one of the downfalls of Tapu Fini. It's very good at priming its partners for knockouts with that Nature's Madness.
Right.
But it has a really hard time taking knockouts itself. And so it's pretty vulnerable this turn now that Trick Room is over. The Kartana has the option to Leaf Blade it to knock it out. The Solgaleo, very threatened by either the Kartana or the Yveltal, able to knock it out with Sacred Sword or Foul Play. And so what looks like a pretty good position for Alex, it seems to be turning around a little bit, because Ryan did make that choice to switch out the Xerneas, which, not the greatest idea in general, but it's what he needed to do, and he knew that.
Yeah, and we're going to actually see some couple switches again. So even though that Xerneas is not going to be on board anymore, that might leave the door open for Alex to get two of the other Mons that are in the back pocket to come back out. So we got Zygarde, we got Incineroar,
Ooh.
And wow, a Swords Dance?
That's pretty important.
That is huge.
Yeah, that is definitely what Ryan needed. Now, his Kartana did take that Intimidate, so it was at -1, but now it's up to +1 attack. And so it's going to be a lot easier for Ryan to start going on the offensive here. Sacred Sword from that Kartana easily will be able to knock out this Incineroar. The Zygarde on Alex's end unfortunately doesn't have that Misty Seed boost anymore, but could potentially start setting up some coils. The Tapu Fini will be able to Heal Pulse it later on in the game if it does have that move. And so this is kind of interesting now, because it looks like Ryan turned kind of an iffy spot into a position where he can start making plays and start taking knockouts if he wants to.
This might be the turning point for this match, but that fake out going onto the Kartana is going to stall for some time here on Alex's side to enable this coil to get off. That Zygarde is going to be very prepped now and very stalwart in this matchup.
Right, and that's a very good switch on Ryan's end because now he has the Xerneas in that's threatening the Zygarde. I don't believe he'll be able to knock out both Zygarde and Incineroar this turn, but he gets to pick one. The Incineroar very commonly does not carry Protect, and so if Ryan wants to target the Incineroar, he will pretty much guaranteed to get an attack off into that slot. Whether it hits the Tapu Fini or the Solgaleo in the back, or it hits the Incineroar on the field now. But the Xerneas now does threaten the Zygarde, which the Yveltal was kind of failing to do.
Well, Alex doesn't want to deal with that. Solgaleo coming back out, and that, not even going to see an attack from the Xerneas either. We're just going to see a Protect, and a Protect from the Zygarde. Zygarde doesn't want to take that damage either. What is this Kartana going to do?
It's the Bloom Doom, okay.
Oh my goodness, this is Gracium Z attached to this Kartana. I love the name of this Z move, the Bloom Doom. It also has a very pretty animation.
It does, yeah. This is a Z move we haven't really seen in 2019 very much. Bloom Doom Kartana was a very popular set a year ago in 2018. But this Kartana in 2019 have generally tended to err on the bulkier side. A lot of times they're but they're a pretty good check to Xerneas and Kyogre, but to do so, they need to be bulky and not offensive. But this Kartana very clearly trained to be more offensive with that Swords Dance and the Bloom Doom. Unfortunately whiffing into the Protect of that Zygarde, but that chip damage on the Zygarde might be important. Something like a Moonblast may be able to knock it out from here.
Yeah.
And now the Solgaleo is threatened by something like a Sacred Sword from Kartana as well.
Just a continuous revolving door Pokemon still. So Tapu Fini is just trying to make sure that terrain stays misty here. That's going to be a knockout though on that Xerneas, so whatever offensive pressure Ryan was hoping to put on that Zygarde is gone from the field, and now it's basically just Kartana +1 against the world here. In terms of the offensive pressure from Ryan.
Yeah, that Extreme Speed was big. Extreme Speed has +2 priority, so it's faster than even something like a Sucker Punch. And so Yveltal likely not carrying Protect. If Alex wants to take that knockout on Yveltal this turn, he will be able to with that Extreme Speed again. And so the Coil coming in very handy. The Coil boosting Zygarde to +1 attack. As we see here, it's going to be able to Extreme Speed the Zygarde, likely for a knockout, and it'll put Alex up to a 4-1 advantage.
This is not looking good for Ryan.
No, not at all.
I don't know if he can come back from that, but that critical, wow.
That critical hit, very unfortunate. He will boost himself up to +2 attack now, I believe, and the Heal Pulse failing. So that's the turn that Ryan needed to have a shot at winning this game.
And he might be in a much better position to do so. That critical hit, that Heal Pulse miss, that could be a huge swing turn for him. But you got to deal with the pressure from the Incineroar as well. And
actually, this game might. I'm not going to say it's over, but this Kartana is not threatened by Tapu Fini at all. I think that we've seen that its only attack is that Nature's Madness, and so I think if you're Alex here, actually no, that was the right play. That was absolutely the right play because you can fake out here, and you can prevent Kartana from getting any attacks off, and now you threaten it with both. Superpower from Solgaleo and Flare Blitz from Incineroar, and so a very smart play on Alex's end. Not panicking when that critical hit the field, and it looks like he's going to be able to wrap this game up.
I like it. Looks like we're going to be going to a game 2 pretty soon, but I have seen crazy things happen.
Yeah,
so I don't want to count any chickens before they hatch yet. But there you go. That's going to be an Incineroar knockout as well. Another critical hit here from that Kartana.
Yeah.
So Beast Boost doing a lot of work. Again, unfortunately, that Beast Boost, though, doesn't do anything to increase your defense.
Right.
So that Solgaleo, that attack is going to hit, and that Kartana is out of here, bringing the series to a 1-0 in favor of Alex so far.
Right. Those last few turns, it looked for a second like Ryan might have a chance, but Alex doing very well not to buckle under pressure. He didn't overreact to that critical hit Leaf Blade. He knew very well what his win condition was, and that was to get the Incineroar in, intimidate it one more time, fake it out so you can switch your Solgaleo in, and now you have Kartana facing down 2 Pokemon that can KO it. And so very well played by Alex to close out that game. It was interesting plays from both players because the momentum swung a couple times. We
Did.
saw an early lead from Alex, and then Ryan turned it around when he kind of baited that Z move into the Xerneas when switched it out into Kartana. And it kind of looked like he might have a little shot at coming back, but Alex able to close it out.
I love the back and forth because I think that keeps it
Yeah.
exciting because you don't have a clear winner at any given point until
Right.
the last couple of turns, or sometimes not even then.
Yeah, there are plenty of games that come down to the very last turn. Even on the last turn, it's not clear until the very last attack on that turn. And so it's very fun to, watch those games that come down to the wire because it's so exciting. You never really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think these players know what's about to happen, and that's game 2.
Exactly.
So we're getting into it. I want to know whether or not Alex or Ryan are going to make any switches in order to kind of circumvent the other strategy they think that the player is using to adapt to what just happened.
Right.
Complicated verbiage, but you get the point.
I was a little bit surprised not to see the Incineroar from
Yeah,
Ryan
me too.
because that is one of his best checks to the Solgaleo. Solgaleo, does have that superpower, but Incineroar threatens it a lot with the Flare Blitz. And if Solgaleo does try to set up that trick room, the Incineroar will be moving before it. And so a little bit of an interesting choice not to bring it. Possibly just knows that it's not as useful as something like Raichu in this matchup. But it's interesting to see if he will readjust and possibly bring it in the back, or possibly just bring the same 4 and try to play a little bit better.
Well, things are looking like the start of game 1, which
Right.
is just this very similar leads for both Alex and Ryan. I don't believe we saw the Solgaleo this early, though, for the last game. I could be wrong.
I think these are the same leads. I believe they both led this, but the...
Oh, I remember now.
The double
We didn't
switch.
see. Yeah, we didn't
Right.
see the Solgaleo for too long
Yeah.
because that got switched out almost immediately
Yep.
for
The Incineroar and the
the Incineroar
Zygarde. Yep.
and the Zygarde. Yeah, the Zygarde was able to take advantage of their Misty Seed. I remember now. But we're not going to see a switch out this time. We're going to see Alex actually taking a little bit of a different approach here, protecting the Solgaleo, and a nice read into that.
Yeah, that's a very good play.
A great read into
Yep.
that.
Knowing that he did switch out the Solgaleo last game into the Incineroar, he decided to, play for that switch again, possibly even just play for an attack. If Volt Switch and Foul Play did go off into Solgaleo, there's a decent chance it would have been knocked out. But Alex smartly not letting that happen. Just getting some damage off in this Eviltal. Considering that it's, that bulky Assault Vest set, it really doesn't like immediately going down to half its health because that's really going to limit its capability to take these strong attacks.
This is knockout range for that Yveltal, so you absolutely don't like seeing that this early on.
Right.
But, Raichu's not going to really do a whole lot here to help the situation. I think Ryan is choosing to bring out Xerneas in order to put some more offensive pressure on the board. And it looks like Tapu Fini's also done its job. So now it's time for Incineroar to come out and be a potential fake-out check for Ryan's team.
Yeah, so the Incineroar coming in, the Intimidate, not going to matter a whole lot just because Foul Play, doesn't check Eviltal's stats at all. But it's going to be nice to have that fake-out pressure, like you said. We're actually going to see another double switch from Alex. This Zygarde coming in to take advantage of that Misty Seed and get the +1 special defense boost.
That's going to do a pretty good bit, though, to protect Zygarde from Xerneas. So we'll
Yes.
see whether or
Yep.
not... we'll see how much it does for the foul play as well. Doing about half to Zygarde so
That's
far.
a pretty big chunk.
That is.
For something that relies on being bulky. Again, kind of like this Eviltal, the Zygarde likes sticking on the field, not taking much damage, and then setting up some coils to become a threat. And so, because the Xerneas is already on the field, it is a +1 special offense, but something like a Moonblast in conjunction with a Foul Play will be able to knock it out. This Incineroar does have fake out pressure, and so we might be able to see Zygarde take a little bit of advantage of the board position with that fake out. But we're just going to see a knockoff from Eviltal instead.
Yeah, that's huge, though, because remember, Ryan got a little bit punished by Incineroar using that Pinch Berry last game.
Yes.
So may as well take that completely out of the equation and knock it off.
Yeah.
But now we're going to see that Xerneas is going to be able to utilize their own item, going to get that Geomancy off in that first turn, and they're ready to rock.
Yeah. The Geomancy coming in handy here because, the Xerneas is facing down two things that aren't really known for their immediate damage output. The Zygarde with 1,000 arrows, you saw how weak that was.
Yeah.
It really doesn't do much damage until it starts boosting. The Incineroar, it could have Flare Blitz if it wanted for a little chunk of damage, but the U-turn a little bit more advantageous. Because now he'll likely be able to bring in something like the Solgaleo, which can threaten the Xerneas, while a Zygarde threatens the Yveltal with an extreme speed.
I like it. This is kind of just like the battle of the beasts right here on board. We got all of the restricted Pokemon out onto the field right now, and it's going to come down to who's able to get that damage off first.
Yeah, so Alex put himself in a spot where he's primed to take 2 knockouts this turn, if Ryan lets him. We have seen that extreme speed, which will be able to knock out Yveltal before it can Foul Play Solgaleo, but it looks like Ryan doesn't want to risk that extreme speed knockout.
No, gonna go ahead and just withdraw the Yveltal for further use later on in this match, and Xerneas is gonna see a Protect as well. The extreme speed finding its mark onto Kartana, so it does look like Ryan made a good prediction in order to preserve the Yveltal. But Trick Room coming out, and this spelled disaster for Ryan last game.
Yeah, the Trick Room is really important for Alex because we see that Kartana is Ryan's 4th Pokemon. And so he doesn't have that Incineroar again. He doesn't really have anything that can punish Trick Room because this Solgaleo is at full health. It can fire off its Z move this turn. It really doesn't have anything that it's scared of at this point.
Not scared of, but we're going to see a swap out anyway. Incineroar coming in to just provide some support for Solgaleo, potentially for another Z move. Not entirely sure here, but now it's just the big cats.
Yeah, so we got the big cats on the field. Incineroar coming in to intimidate that Kartana, like you said. Xerneas did protect last turn, going for a double, and he actually gets it. And
wow.
So that's a pretty important play for Ryan, because it looks like his Xerneas will be able to survive this Searing Sunray Smash.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Searing Sunray Smash is going to be finding its mark on Raichu, so I think you're right about that. It's going to absolutely be going through the protective that Xerneas.
Yeah, one thing that's good, though, is that this is the second game in a row that Alex has switched in his Incineroar the same turn Raichu has come in. And so now he does have that Fake-Out pressure, and he can prevent Ryan from using Fake-Out off his own. So even though the Xerneas did get the Protect off, it'll still take a huge chunk of damage from this Z move. It will be in KO range for another Sunsteel Strike down the road. And so yeah, this is a great turn from Alex, even though a little bit unfortunate to get that double Protect. He has Fake-Out pressure. He can prevent a Fake-Out from Raichu. He can get some more damage off with Solgaleo. It might be a time to call another switch of the boosted Xerneas out, just because Solgaleo really doesn't mind taking a Moonblast if you get that call wrong. But at this point, I don't know if you need to make that kind of risk because you have a pretty strong board position.
I wonder if Alex is gonna follow the past too and bring Tapu Fini back on the field pretty soon. But wow, that Fake Out actually did a lot of work on Raichu.
Yeah, a good chunk of damage on the Raichu, breaking a potential Focus Sash, and we do just see the straight up Sunsteel Strike. If this does hit the Xerneas, it will be a clean knockout. Raichu would be able to take it most likely, but we are going to see the Xerneas get dropped.
Unfortunate for Ryan. That means that Xerneas pressure is off of the table, and he's going to have to rely on something else in order to finish off that Solgaleo, because that Solgaleo's already done its job here.
Solgaleo's done its job and more.
Yeah.
It took down that Xerneas single-handedly. It is threatening both of these Pokemon. We've seen Superpower. It might be able to take out that Kartana because it is weak to that Fighting Type move. But the Incineroar also is threatening Kartana with a Flare Blitz. And Ryan is running out of switches because that Yveltal is in the back, but it's not at very high health. I believe it's down, around 20-30%. And so any kind of attack it takes likely will be able to knock it out.
Well, Kartana's just going to switch in the place of that Xerneas and detect, but wow, a critical. That's knockout range for that Raichu.
Absolutely, yeah. If Alex decided to double target that Raichu with something like a Sunsteel Strike or a Superpower, then it's going to be able to be knocked out this turn, which would be pretty unfortunate. It might just be targeting that Kartana instead, but he does go for the Raichu with Sunsteel Strike.
Wow.
So that's going to result in a knockout. That critical hit U-turn might have made a difference there.
We won't know until we actually do the damage calculations, but maybe somebody in chat can do that for us, because that is just Yeah, we have no idea whether or not that was just luck, that was skill, maybe
Right.
a little bit of both, because that's what Pokemon's about.
Well, there was definitely some skill there because he did call the Protect
Yeah.
on Kartana. He got that play right. Whether
Absolutely.
that critical hit mattered, we're not really sure, but there's something to be said about being rewarded for making good plays, and that's absolutely what happened for Alex there.
And now Alex looks to be again in a driver's seat. This looks like history repeating itself for game 1. Ryan is on his last 2 Pokemon, a very, very low Yveltal that would absolutely blow over to the slightest breeze,
Right.
and a Kartana that's standing on its flimsy legs. So
Yes, we're going to see 1,000 Arrows, finished off that Yveltal. 1,000 Arrows, a very underrated move. It ignores any ground-type immunities. So just the Yveltal get dropped by the 1,000 Arrows, and Superpower will be able to finish off Kartana,
Wow.
so Alex will be moving on to top 4.
yeah, congratulations to Ryan for making it this far, but you got to give congratulations to Alex too for that amazing gameplay, because you're right, there is a lot of skill involved
Right.
in choosing how you respond, getting those predictions right on
Right.
what Pokemon is going to protect, what's going to switch in, and I think that Alex was awake this morning.
He was very awake. Just like yesterday, we saw him, very much in control of the game yesterday when we saw him on stream. He knew exactly what his gameplay needed to be. He knew exactly how he needed to use his Pokemon, and it paid off very well for him yesterday. It did again today. It's very interesting that he's using this Misty Seed Zygarde, which gets the special defense boost from the terrain, but he's so willing to switch it out once it has that boost. And I think it's very admirable, because I know a lot of people might get trapped into thinking, I have these boosts on the field, and you just keep them on the field so I don't waste them. But it's much better to preserve your Pokemon, know when to bring it in, when to take them out, and when to save them for later in the game. And so Alex exactly knowing what he needed to do.
Ryan ended up doing that too with the Xerneas. Remember, we saw game 1 that Xerneas was Geomancied, and then Ryan opted to preserve Xerneas for future use instead of relying on that Geomancy. And in game 2, seemed like he left it in the game in order to rely on the Geomancy.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know. Very well played from Alex.
Yeah.
Congrats to Ryan as well. Top 8, $250, 100 CP.
That's
Great
a lot.
tournament for him as well.
Absolutely.
And so it looks like we're going to take a quick little break and be back with a player interview with Alex.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got Alex now behind the desk. Congratulations on your first win of the day.
Thank you.
You must be feeling super good.
Yeah, that matchup was like, I was really scared, especially since the foul. I'm sure you saw on the stream, foul play hits really hard on Solgaleo.
It does. Oh, absolutely. But it seemed like you were so in control of that match that you were able to control that Yveltal pressure really well.
Yeah.
And so talk me through the strategy behind making sure Yveltal just didn't whack your Pokemon.
So essentially, I knew Yveltal was Assault Vest, and its only way to recover health was to use Oblivion Wing.
Gotcha.
So essentially, as you saw in game 2, I knew he was going to just Geomancy that turn and try and foul play my Solgaleo, or my Zygarde. So I just 1,000 arrows and U-turned to make sure he was in range of extreme speed. So then if he ever switched out and he was just trying to foul play my Solgaleo, then there was no way he could have won because I would just extreme speed him anyways.
You had a lot of phenomenal plays, and that's just one of them. You had a great read. I believe it was game 2 where you got a double protect.
No, it was he got double protect.
You got I'm sorry. That was my mistake of the words. You had a protect on your Solgaleo that ended up getting doubled into.
Yeah.
That was a great read.
He had to do that, or else he would have. Essentially, what my strategy was to protect Solgaleo and switch into Incineroar, fake out, and then Trick Room. Because once I get Trick Room up, as you saw in game 2, there really is nothing he can do.
That's very true.
Because he didn't bring Incineroar, so it's kind of really bad for him. I expected the Incineroar over Raichu.
I think we expected that as well, so we were scratching our heads just a little bit about why Raichu was brought to the table.
I think his plan was to encore my Protect. That's probably the most logical.
Yeah, I think that
strategy there.
Yeah, we saw that game 1 where Raichu went for an encore, but you got a U-turn, so you completely negated that, and that was incredible. And I want to talk about one of the stars on your team, and I think that's Starbucks Mom.
Starbucks Mom.
Yeah, we saw.
Oh, the Fini. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We saw your Tapu Fini do so much work yesterday. Everybody in the convention center was just in awe about the fact that your Tapu Fini never died, and I don't think it died during this set either.
Nope. It's very bulky. It's as you saw, it's meant for support. It's not limited for attacking, so I don't need to invest any EVs into the special attack stat.
Yeah.
It's just, essentially just to whittle down my opponent and buff up my Zygarde and my Solgaleo.
And you did a really great job of utilizing that Nature's Madness on that Tapu Fini for the Yveltal that you knew was going to be a problem for your team. So you played that really well. We can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future.
Thank you.
I know we're going to be probably talking to you again, but are there any shout-outs that you want to make?
Shout out to Soldier Gang, Peanut Gallery, and Terry. I'm avenging him today.
I like it.
That Swagger miss. Yeah.
I like it. I can appreciate that. Everybody knows how it feels to miss a Swagger.
Yeah, it feels horrible.
One of the many unfortunate things that we have to see in Pokemon, but we're going to see more amazing things. We've got another match after this interview, so thank you so much, Alex, for joining me behind the desk. Best of luck to you for your semifinals match. You're walking home with a lot of CP.
Yeah.
That's no matter what, winning this first round means that you're going to get more money, more CP, and that's going to do a lot for you.
All right. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And we're going to be right back after this quick break with another match for the top cut. So we'll see you after that.